I came across an article. It's kind of hard for me to read because it's not from the internet. I don't know if the Observer, and this is the, let me show it to you right here. The Observer, that's the title. You can see the Observer right here. And then this is the, you can kind of see if I can show it so you can see kind of. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting article that I wanted to address. Thumb on the scale. Police can take leaving during Amber Guyger's trail. Maybe the trail should leave Dallas instead. So, let's play a game called What is Dallas So Worried About? The city has ordered all of its cops not to take time off beginning this week for the duration of the trial of a former Dallas police officer, Amber Guyger. Okay? Guyger, who is white, is accused of murder in September 6, 2018 shooting death of Botham Jean, a 26-year-old accountant killed in his own apartment. Jean was black. From the beginning, this case has evoked powerful feelings in the community, not entirely, but significantly along racial lines. So, the city keeping all the cops on call because it is afraid that the white people might riot. Is that it? I'm just asking. So I think the author here is being a little sarcastic. I'm not asking you who's more likely to burn the place down if it doesn't go their way, white people or black people. I'm asking you what you think city officials are telling us. And let me ask you something else. Why did city officials have to tell us? Why did they publicly announce the no time off policy for cops? Couldn't they just have done it? Isn't this a personal matter? And how did it become a public issue that needed to be announced? What's the public part? Here's why I ask. I think 99.9% of the public is going to look at this policy, no time off for cops during the Guyger Trail, and think it's about black people. Is it racist to assume it's about black people? Was it racist to do it in the first place? Was it racist to announce the policy publicly? Is the thing. Sure. Has to be. I'm certain there is some weird thread of racism woven through all of it. I'm equally sure I'm not smart enough to unweave it. But here is what I can unweave, and I think you can too if you take the time. In this trial, heavily freighted with race, a public announcement that the police department is on red alert is a powerful message that there may be racial trouble if Guyger gets off. And that fear is about black people. Yeah, okay, tell me if I'm wrong. City officials are really worried about the white folks rioting. Tell you what, I don't very much think so, and neither do you. Assuming someone at City Hall truly believes there is a threat of public discord related to this trial, surely the same person can see the powerful message that a public announcement sends to juries. If you let her off, the black people will riot. Talk about racism. But City Hall is hardly the Lone Ranger on this score. Last Thursday, the Dallas Morning News ran a long, pompous editorial that was maybe the worst attempt at feigned fairness I have ever seen. An impartial assessment of the evidence is the only path to justice in this case, the paper says in an official voice on the editorial page. The rule of law and the tenets of a civilized society dictates that Guyger have her day in court to explain her actions and for a jury to determine her accountability. So far, so good. She gets a trial. But then the paper says it's fair to debate whether Guyger should have been charged with murder or manslaughter. I'm sorry about the glasses thing. Okay. This is an old saw by now for the news. They have said repeatedly that they wish Guyger had been charged with manslaughter because the newspaper's editorial page thinks manslaughter conviction would have been easier to get than murder. We're on record, the paper says, with worries that a murder charge with its stiffer sentence creates a greater risk of determination that Guyger bears no responsibility for Jean's death. We can't lose sight that a man was killed minding his own business in his own home. And then they say, but that's for the jury to decide. So that means Guyger is guilty in the paper's opinion, and she needs to be convicted of something, whatever will stick. But that's for the jury to decide. So if the jury walks her, the jury decided wrong. Okay. Does it not mean that? Where did I miss a step? Show me. Let's not even delve into the legal sleaziness of the argument. Every lawyer I have talked to about this says the same thing. Manslaughter and murder are different crimes, different charges with different proofs that must be made for a conviction. In terms of the issue and proofs required, one conviction is not easier than the other. A manslaughter conviction may only be easier to get than murder because a jury might take manslaughter a little less seriously, pay a little less attention to the law, and weigh the matter less gravely. And of course, that is precisely the news editorial page argument. They want a manslaughter charge because they think manslaughter would be a more down and dirty conviction. That is not an uplifting thought. And just in case there was any doubt about the paper's attention, the very next day, on Friday, the newspaper published a softball celebrity-style question-and-a interview, a Q&A interview with Botham's Jean's mother, the victim's mother, or the person that was gunned down in his own home by a police officer in Dallas because of wrong entry, or something like that. Because of I don't understand some of the stuff. And that interview, the bereaved mother conveys that she believes her son was murdered, that Guyger is guilty of the murder, and that Guyger must be punished for murder. Now, was it premeditated or not? All of this is framed with heart-rending description of the family's peach two-story home atop a hill with the winding roads and a view of the Caribbean. His mother still lives in that home. The story says, and Jean is buried in a cemetery by the sea. As a human being, I can feel only a very painful sympathy for this woman whose son was taken from her in such a horrible way. As a lifelong newspaper reporter, I am certainly not going to get holier than thou about pumping the bereaved mother for an interview days before the trial. We do these stories. They're not fun to do, shouldn't be. But the mother's story is important. People are interested. It's legit. But here's the normal newspaper angle on a thing like this. Amber Guyger has a mother. He has a mother too. She has a family. What on earth are they going through as they watch their loved one enter this dark and perilous tunnel? That's a story too. In fact, just about anybody I've ever worked for in the business would say that those two stories are only legit when we can get both stories and run them the same day side by side. Nobody I ever worked with for who has any good would have done either one of these stories as a Hollywood Q&A. For one thing, there are tough questions to be put into both families. Even if you are very strongly sympathetic with Jean's family and feel no sympathy whatsoever for Guyger's family, at least you can see the effect of this one-sidedness. Like the editorial that preceded it by 24 hours, the Q&A with Jean's mother, come across not as a legitimate journalism, but as a message propaganda, a signal. Here is the family for whom you should feel sympathy. Listen to what they want. They want a conviction. They want punishment. They will be gravely injured if there is no conviction. And on Guyger's side of the tracks, howling silence. She doesn't even have a family. As far as the morning news is concerned, she doesn't deserve equal time because she's not a person. Try to weigh this message or these messages. One is so official and so terrible. There might as well be a big flashing digital billboard over a city hall saying, "Convict Guyger or riots." The other message from the city's only daily newspaper is unofficial, but is so terribly twisted. Be fair, follow the law, but make sure one way or the other that Guyger gets sent to the pen so we won't have a riot. I guess we could spend a lot of time pondering why. If we did that, my own suspicion probably would lead me down into the city's long, dark history of racism and the belief of white people that black people are always on the verge of nuclear explosion. But let's not. We're never going to get to the bottom of that one. Instead, let's focus on a problem in this trial that can be solved. With City Hall itself sending out deeply biasing signals and the daily newspaper playing subliminal and mind games with the jury pool, the judge needs to realize that this trial cannot take place in Dallas. Sad to say. But right now, there isn't enough honor or good intention in all of Dallas County for this trial to come out fair and square. And there's a lot of thirst for blood. This Coliseum is raging for Guyger's blood. The emperor wants blood. The Coliseum is not a good place for a trial right now. At this point, the least populated county in West Texas probably could sort this out better than we could. I believe that would be any Loving County. I believe that would be Loving County. I don't know. Email the author at jim.schutze, dallasobserver.com, and I'll kind of show you that email right there if you want to email. It's amazing technology. Let me see if I can get, on selfies, it's a little bit more difficult. You can maybe zoom in and see the email. But I'm trying to bring it, maybe bring the light down a little bit or something. Wow. See if I can get, you can see. If you want to email, jim.schutze@dallasobserver.com. So this is a Dallas Observer, Jim Schutze. Couldn't really get the email. So the thing is about where we're going with these types of trials and rioting, and what I would like probably to bring up is maybe Rodney King, okay? So with Rodney King, we have these police officers in LA, Los Angeles, somewhere in California, beating the crap out of this drunk black guy. Supposedly, he was allegedly drunk. We don't know if he was really drunk. Only God knows. I don't know if the test came out that he was drunk. Nobody knows if Rodney King was drunk. But we do know for a fact that these police officers spent a lot of time beating the crap out of this poor man on the side of the road for a very long time. For a crime that we don't know how fast the man was going in his car or whatever. We don't know. But we know that happened. We saw the police officers do it, okay? And I know for a fact that police officers in California are corrupt. I know for a fact they are. The police department in California is corrupt. And it will be, we know that from movies like LA Confidential. They are corrupt. Trust me, they are corrupt. Long Beach police, corrupt. Los Angeles Police Department, corrupt, okay? We know that. We know what happened with Rodney King was wrong. We saw that. Now, we get to Dallas. Okay. We have a female police officer that's working 10-hour shifts or she's working very long shifts. I don't know how she got into this man's apartment. There's one thing. How in the world? Here's the thing. If you're living in Maine you may not lock your apartment or your house because there's virtually hardly like no crime in Maine or in Canada, let's say. A lot of people in Canada, they don't even lock their doors. People in Dallas lock their doors, okay? Everyone locks their door. So there's something strange with this woman just walking into this man's house and gunning him down in his own home. Because it's hard for me to believe if this happened at night or whenever it happened. I believe it either happened at night or very early in the morning. Did the man leave his door ajar? Did the man leave his door unlocked? Regardless, the police officer woman accidentally went into his home, pulled out her gun, and murdered the man, okay? It just doesn't make sense to me, okay? Now, did she have a key? Did they know each other? Did she knock and did the man let her in? I don't know how the police officer, first of all, got into the man's house. And if the police officer did get into the man's house, let's say that if Amber did not shoot him, she could still be tried with a crime. It's called breaking and entering. And without a warrant, that police officer cannot enter the house. Anyway, she found a way to get into this man's house, take out her gun, and murder him, okay? She will face a penalty, okay? You do not go into someone's house. Okay, here's another thing too. What kind of drugs or what exactly, 10-hour shifts are pretty tough, okay? Don't get me wrong, 12-hour shifts are tough. Being a police officer is probably hard. When does it come to conclusion when you walk into someone's house that you do not know that that is your house? Okay, I picture, this is a case that I feel very passionate about, and I'm reading this about because when I heard about it, it plagued me for many hours. I thought about this. So does she walk in and she realizes that it's not her apartment? Is it completely pitch dark? If it is completely pitch dark, how did she muster off the shot to kill the man if she couldn't see him, or she couldn't see the apartment, or not know that that was her apartment? You know what I'm saying? If you're going to shoot a gun in the dark, let's say she just shot in the dark, in the pitch blackness of the night or whatever, or in the apartment, and she fired off a shot, not seeing the man, why? You know, why do we immediately kill an intruder when they're in our homes? Now, I mean, I can understand fear. You know, I mean, hey, what's this guy doing in my home? Oh my God, boom. And then you kill him, you know. Someone walks in your home, that's a pretty scary thing. Even if it's someone that well, I mean, she obviously didn't know her neighbors, but she didn't figure out where she was, okay. All of a sudden, she's kind of looking, oh, there's a man in my home, boom, I killed you. You're in my home, you know. I'm having trouble with this one. So anyway, she thinks she's in her home. She's not looking around. She's not noticing. Maybe she didn't decorate her home. It looked just like, or maybe he didn't decorate the home. Obviously, I think you would probably figure out, oh, this is not my place. My plant doesn't go there. Or, hey, that's not my television. Or this is not my couch. Oh, look, there's a man, but the apartment doesn't look like mine. Oh, well, I'm just going to kill him. Boom. Okay. I don't know. Quick decision, you know, let's kill first, then ask questions later. Let's shoot first. You know, that's the part that I don't understand. She walks into this strange place, pulls the gun out, kills the man in his own home. Okay, she obviously was out of her mind. I can see how they're probably going to go for manslaughter. If she knew the man, or let's say they were sleeping together or their relationship, premeditated murder, without a doubt. If they can prove that she knew the man first, go for premeditated murder. If the man left her a key, she went in, maybe she told the guy not to come around. It still didn't give her, it doesn't give you the right to kill somebody, especially if you know them. That can be premeditated murder, okay? I don't care if they're in your home or not. That can be premeditated in murder if she knew him. If he was a complete stranger and she accidentally killed him, remove her gun for the rest of her life, for one thing. She will never be a police officer again. And if she does, this world is very, very scary, because she obviously abused her right to own a lethal sidearm because she took someone's life in his own home. This is obviously a case that should either be made into a documentary or a movie, be explored to its highest detail. This is something that we need to focus on, especially the Dallas Police Department. You have a police officer entering someone's home and killing them dead. And the man probably was trying to wipe the sleep out of his eye, and boom, he's dead, you know. What is going on? Who is trying to get in my home? I don't think police officers should ever be able to enter our home unless we are the most dangerous criminal, or we're, at least we're like, David Koresh, and are stockpiling weapons. And still, they should be careful about that with what on Waco. No one should enter anybody's home for any reason at all. It's just ridiculous. So she enters the room. She enters his home on accident and kills him. I don't know, man. I think we need to make an example of her and give her some time. She seriously, this whole thing, oh, intruder alert, boom, you're dead. Cops should especially not be that. Hey, she could wrestle the guy in the ground and get him into a chokehold. They teach that stuff in academy. Or how about taking out your mace spray and spraying him? Or here's a better thing. How about running away from your apartment complex and calling the flippin' police? What about her running out of her home and calling the police for backup? Then when the police would get there, would go, is this your apartment? Oh, it's not my apartment. No. Instead, I'm giving you capital punishment. I'm killing you for entering my home. We should set an example of this case. This Amber Guyger character is not someone that I look up to in the Dallas Police Department at all. And I think there should be protesters out there, and they should give her the hardest sentence as possible. She killed a man in cold blood because she chose to first go to her weapon. You live by the sword, you die by that sword. And possibly the death penalty is what I think she should get. Because this man died in cold blood in his own home. This is a murder case, okay? And you don't go for the gun first. You can call for backup. You can run away. There is ways. I'm sure that man did not attack her or grab her or try to lasso her with a rope. This is a racist trial. And Amber Guyger should be made, she should be set aside as a Dallas Police Department and made an example of and get a life in prison, if not the death penalty, is what I think. You don't go for the gun first. You go and ask what's going on. You go call or you use pepper spray. I think all police officers should lose their right to have a gun. I think they should all be disarmed. And I feel passionately about this, especially beat officers. SWAT teams, no. SWAT teams can have the HK7s, the MP5s. They can have their, AR-15s. They can have their sniper rifles. They can have their bazookas. They can have whatever they need. The SWAT can have whatever they need. I think all police officers should lose their lethal sidearm. This is a case for this reason. You do not go for your sidearm, ever. You don't need to, especially when you have an accountant, a guy that's he probably didn't even have a weapon. Okay? This is the example of why police officers should not have a lethal sidearm. They should have a stun gun. They should have pepper spray. But they don't need their guns. They don't need to have a lethal sidearm. That's for SWAT or that's for military, okay? She should get the death penalty, or she should get murder charges filed on her for life. We should make an example of Amber Guyger, put her in prison for life. She killed a man in cold blood. This is a serious issue. This is not a manslaughter case. This is murder because she chose to go for the gun immediately because of either her temper or because she could show her power over this man and kill him. She made that decision quick. That's slightly premeditated. And she killed that man. So put her away for life. Goodbye, Amber. Goodbye. Women like you are a shame. Keep your stupid handgun.